Sent to the future from the year 2000 by a glitch due to the Millennium Bug, I'm adapting to thrive in the peculiar conditions of the 2020s. Join me in a multimedia extravaganza as we surf the World Wide Web, catch up on 2 decades of video games and mess around with creative tools new and old. I'm Millennium Cyborg, welcome to the new millennium. Alright. It has been a while since I have streamed on my own channel, I feel. Ren, great to see you, welcome. I've been deep in the code mines, chasing after anti-aliasing and motion blur perfection. Very elusive goal. But I'm now running with flip quad multi-sampling, which I implemented from scratch because my render pipeline, as I mentioned before, is completely separate from the built-in Unity ones. It is using the scriptable render pipeline feature. So anything I implement, I'm implementing from scratch. Good performance characteristics. Overall looks look better than the stream looked previously. If you look at, in particular, the edges of things, and yeah, I just think it looks neat. I've got things that still have a lot of high frequency noise that needs better filtering. In particular, I'm currently working on better motion blur. I posted examples before of motion blur in progress, I think, but better motion blur for the sky and water. What I'm trying to do is, and this is something that I think, for good reason, no one tries to do, but what I'm trying to do is apply the motion blur in texture space within the procedural texture. I need to actually use OBS for this one, just a moment. And bring down the TV. There we go. Looking almost professional. I've been making diagrams in Inkscape to try to help myself understand what I'm trying to do, and for potentially an eventual blog post actually explaining what I've been up to, assuming that I get it working. Just a moment. Let's get the stream playlist going. There we go. So, I haven't done a thorough investigation in what uses of procedural noise that there are out there in different engines and so on, and the optimizations for those, but I know that 2 ways of going about things are: one, just bake a texture of the noise characteristics that you want, and you can make it wrap within the space that you want, and then you can just rely on traditional texture filtering as built into your graphics card to make it look good. And you can do motion blur in screen space using conventional motion blur techniques. I don't, for whatever reason, one of the things I don't want to do is to use temporal filtering methods. It's not strictly true, but what I want to do is approach the look of pre-rendered CGI, right? Or especially of the 2000 era. And so I'm trying to avoid temporal methods which I feel have a distinct look to them that isn't the same as pre-rendered motion blur. And I thought what I was trying to do here was going to be a much narrower problem, a much simpler problem. I'm just trying to get the fast-moving sky and water in my futuristic racing Friday racing setup looking good. Actually, let's switch to that since I've got the current setup going. Right, here we go. Right, let's go to a different camera. Which one is good for this? This one? That'll do. So you can see here, I'm in the in my ship that I modeled. I don't have a. There we go. I don't have all of my cameras mapped, but this one's good enough. There's an okay sense of speed, a pretty good sense of speed, but the motion blur isn't quite there, and that's because in order to achieve this particular look, what I did here is I cheated and I rescaled the procedural texture noise values. I even changed the algorithm for the sky texture. It actually uses a different procedural sky noise function and hash because I thought it looked better. But what particularly vexing is the transition back out of this. If I just go to the regular sky, see it does all kinds of wild skipping around for a while, and then it looks like it starts, well, depending on frame rate and so on, it can also look like it starts reversing and so on, and it finally comes back to the normal sort of sky. I want something that actually looks like a smooth transition and more like a motion blur of a appropriate size for the time interval between frames. And in order to solve it for this scene, I thought, well, all I need to do is motion blur the actual procedural texture itself by the amount that and direction that we travel between frames. So here's a representation of that problem in an Inkscape diagram. So here what we've got is individual noise values at a given scale. The way that the noise textures work is called fractal Brownian motion, which means that it's a sum of noise at multiple scales. And I'm just trying to solve the motion blur problem at one scale, and then, you know, the loop to motion blur each of the different octaves of noise will handle the rest. So the idea here is that over one frame, the total color for a given pixel will be the integral along the line of motion, or the average along the line of motion between the two frames. Easy to compute, you know, for the setup I've got at the moment. I've only got a fixed speed in a straight line, so And I'm actually working in a world space as well by this point. So I've got 2 points and a line between them. In theory, I'm also working with a radius of within which I'm filtering, but I only use that radius to decide which octaves of noise, which scales of noise to actually use. But so by this point, I'm really just saying, here's a straight line. I need to sum up, find the average noise along that line, the average noise value. And finally, the actual value of the noise at any given point. It's a bilinear interpolation of the values of those coordinates you see. So, can you see my mouse cursor? Not in this one, okay. In just a moment. Should be capturing cursor. Okay, there we go. There we go. So, what I figured out, and there are certain assumptions and approximations involved in this, but my idea is, so first of all, the naive approach is to just multi-sample along the line, to say, okay, well, we know how to get the noise value at any given point. Just go down the line, 64 times and find the sum of the noise values at those points and then divide by the number of samples. That works. It's just very expensive. My rendering is also already very inefficient by nature and expensive, and I'm trying to keep the textures procedural rather than pre-computed and dynamically modifiable. So my idea was, if the filtering is bilinear within any given one of these cells, what I can do is break this line up into segments where it intersects each cell, and then I only need to actually use the midpoint of each segment within a cell and weigh it give it a weight equal to the length of the segment, and then I take the sum of those and I've got the integral or the average across the entire line. Works great on paper, not so much in practice. The numerical precision issues I'm hitting here are substantial, so it'll look great at some speeds, except that pixel values at a precisely on edges are totally wrong. And so yeah, I've just been busy with that for quite some time now. Coming back to it in one evening after another, and I don't have a solution yet, but I'm kind of convinced that it must logically be possible, and I know it'll look good because I can do more expensive approximation to the same thing that do look good, and I think that the optimization is fundamentally sound. So yeah, I'm still working on that. I really can't figure it out. I'll try to find a way to still allow my textures to be fully procedural, but allow for some pre-computation to a texture, so that noise sample values don't have to be recomputed every frame. Anyway, with that said, that's what I've been up to. But what I'm doing today is I've been wanting to make a new version of my studio, current studio is just a what's the right he's an oblate spheroid. It's maybe a large pancake sort of shape. I got influenced by watching Symphogear, and I really liked the command center they have there. So a while back I just modeled this, right? And so we've got the current desk set up, but essentially the command center from Symphogear. And I also tried adding some people in the scene to make it look, you know, more interesting. I've got some walls. I've been fiddling with what the glass should like behind the presenter's desk. Haven't yet settled on something I'm very fond of. So I've got an interior space in mind that would be this sort of shape, right? And so I thought, okay, I want something that a studio that looks good from various angles, and so you would come in, and maybe you could do something with this, but and here's me trying out some lighting with spotlights. Sort of. All right. Okay. The floor shape doesn't match up with the wall shape, so there's some gaps. I think as a model of the Symphogear. Sorry, I didn't see your chat earlier, and I'm not sure when that was. What's up with my chat? Is a problem that I'm covering it completely where it appears, possibly? But yeah, Symphogear is my favorite. Certainly has got my favorite transformation sequences, especially the final season. They're really quite amazing works of animation. How do I fix the chat? Let's see. I think my chat is a separate. How many elements is it in my overlays? No, the problem is that the stream element part is in the wrong location. So I'll go to stream elements. Because if I raise the entire stream element overlay, that will take my alerts with it as well. So my overlays. Okay. I think I'd just like the chat to go the opposite way around. I don't know if that's an option. Text settings. Alignment. Okay, yeah, no idea how to rearrange that, so I'm just gonna cheat. Move this halfway up. There we go. Fixed. So, what was I saying? I think as a model of the command center from Symphogear, this looks fine. As the environment I want to stream in, it doesn't quite have the right vibe, and it doesn't have good camera angles going on actually, except for this one, you know, which is the one you really see in the show. So I also wanted to make something more Y2K inspired. And so what I had in mind was something blobby. So I'm going to be using meta balls first of all. Okay, let's go back to, yeah, a more boring but easy to pass shaded view. I'm going to be using meta balls, and I'm going to try and create a blobby surface, and then I'll try to use a grid to conform to that surface. Meatballs, meta balls, yeah. Sorry if this makes anyone angry. Alright, so what do I have going on here? Okay, it's a bit... Which set am I scaling along? Global, okay. So I'm going to go into bounding box, active element. Let's scale in X. Okay, so my idea is, instead of this arrangement which juts out and creates a lot of angles where you can't see the sort of actual studio floor, I want more of a sort of amphitheater sort of look. And my idea was to have blobs kind of in alternating levels, perhaps. So the last one would be quite low. So metaballs are objects with a kind of sphere of a radius of influence, and the actual mesh that you get, I'm trying to avoid using the word isosurface. The resulting mesh is influenced by those objects. So if you have two of them close to each other within their radius of influence, they all sort of bridge together. And you can modify the radius of influence as well as the actual size and placement to create shapes that are more, you know, organic, blobby. Metaball's quite an old thing in CGI. We need one more level. Where did it go? The hard part is selecting the, you know, clicking on one metaball doesn't select it. It just selects some other metaball that's maybe the first one you created. So maybe there's some other clever way of dealing with these that I don't know, but So how does that look? All right, so this is something like what I had in mind. I should probably create some cameras as well that will be at, you know, certain points of view within the scene. For example, we have presenter presenter's view. Reset that. Whoops. Bring it to the right sort of height. Alright, and now we can see what the scene might look like from this angle. And actually, maybe now is already a good time to think about the material. Plug in a device. Alright. So gee, what happens if one of these has a different material to the others? Yeah, it just uses the material of the first metaball that you actually created, and if you click on one of them, it just clicks. Oh, okay, you can just about select the others by clicking on its radius of influence. So hold on. Yeah, so there is a material slot here, it just does nothing. Okay. Let's go into shading view. Got a lot of lights going on in the scene. I've not fine-tuned them, I just quickly slapped them down, so let's go for, yeah, this kind of tasteful light blue, and then maybe this can be, no, I've got one down there, I don't need this. Oh crap, trying to remember how to do this. Yeah, there we go. No. Oh no. Oh no, I'm creating a billion windows. The difference between creating a sub window and collapsing it is only a few pixels apart. I never remember. No, that was wrong. Okay, that was it. Maybe I'll turn all of these spotlights off. And go to a HDRI. Let's see what I've got. Some of these are too bright. Do I have exposure controls? My exposure is normal. What sort of settings? Let's try different HDRIs that I've got saved. Probably one that's like vaguely appropriate. Okay, well. Subway entrance. Industrial pipe and valve. TV studio, but it's a really... Well, okay. I mean, there's some of the right sort of atmosphere. What's going on though with the... Have I tweaked... All I've done is applied a vector rotate to the HDRI. We tweak the exposure. Oh, 0 is the default. I had it on 1. Okay. Okay, that'll do. I got my times wrong. Nef's stream is already starting. I thought I had another hour. She's playing Sonic 06, and that can only go very, very, very well for her. I want a material that looks a bit translucent, not necessarily actually translucent, but maybe with some subsurface to it. Well, right now I'm trying to make something that looks like a realistic Y2K style environment. I'll worry about what it looks like in my engine later. Right now I'm trying to find a surface material that gives me the right vibes, and then interesting. I've not played with subsurface stuff very much. So for example, I don't know what these values actually represent. I guess it's got a bit of that look to its surface. Yeah, that is a... I guess that's... Huh. Not even quite sure what I'm looking at. Give it lots of specular. It's very shiny. Roughness. Ooh. Low roughness is helping. I think it needs to be still like that. Or maybe it'd be quite rough. Go with 0.4. I feel like I want a bit more, a bit more shadow to it, but I can't really control that independently, unless... Well, I could do here. This isn't bad. This shading as a way to see what's going on. Get that pure chrome. Alright, so I want this one actually higher, a bit lower. Maybe I'll actually be a bit more systematic, so this one Y Z at 1.5, and then this one Z minus 1.5, and then we've got this one is going to be a Z0 minus 0.75. So now the heights are evenly distributed. I'm going to make it completely uniform, but okay. This is, yeah, the sort of thing I had in mind. So now let's bring back in. I find although the HDRI, the lighting is good, it's not, I find it distracting. Let's see if I can tweak the lights. I tried to make an array of the lights, and I ran into weird issues with the transforms because you can't make an array of the lights directly. You have to make an array of objects that have a light parented to them, and then you end up with instanced lights, and I don't understand how those transforms are working. Long story short, all of my spotlights were pointing upwards, even though the one that I was modifying was pointing downwards. It was right before the stream, so I just gave up on the idea for now. I'm just scaling the collection. Oh, I remember why I didn't have them scaled that far previously. It's because the roof isn't flat. And actually I've exceeded the bounds, but that's fine, because what I'll actually do is I'll retopologize this afterwards. But here's, so I was thinking of having, yeah, the entrance will be around there somewhere. Can I add a plane as a meta ball to form the floor? Yes, although because it's a meta ball as an area of influence, and so it ends up looking like a blob itself. To turn these back off, okay. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, it must be in the wrong collection. It's that one. Okay. So right now the area of influence is transformed. What happens if I apply scale? That's interesting. I didn't expect it to change aspect ratio when I apply scale, because I just... Okay, well, I'll reduce the... resolution, influence threshold. Okay, I can do this. This is interesting. I was expecting to directly edit a radius value. Is this threshold on the square distance or something? Oh, it's not blobbing with the others. Huh. Okay. Okay, let's try again. I'm selecting this. adding a plane to this. This one is blobbing with the others. I don't know how... I would have expected some properties that say, you know, what parent metaball thing is it part of, or a modifier or something. So there's some kind of extra information we don't see. Okay, I'll start by scaling that way up. I mean, so if I change this to 1.95, right, that's changing all of them, which, to be honest, that by itself makes sense, but scale, okay, so the what is the workflow here? We just want to have a floor surface that this blends with, but you see it influences the rest of the metaballs in a way I don't like. Maybe I'll have to do this more by hand with the subdivision and traditional modeling. Okay, well let's get the shape a bit more correct. What I want is, yeah, I want to modify, rename these. This is like left one from point of view of presenter. What? Just... Okay, I can't rename it that because that's the kind of parent. Interesting. What? Can't rename any of them. Okay, never mind. I want to move these a bit out to the side. These two a bit out to the side. What happens if I... Okay, and then disable the lights. Okay, the camera's not on collection. No, there's a different camera. Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to see if there's any other widget visible for each of these? Answer seems to be no. And what is this origin? I don't understand. Oh, hold on. What happens if I enter edit mode? Okay. Oh, maybe they all need to be one object. Several metaballs in it. Object. How do I join? Can I not join these? I cannot join these. Okay, that's not how it works. What if I edit this, right? There's a green handle, a red handle. Moving it by either of those. Metable context menu, mirror, snap. Why are these handles here? I can't drag them, move, okay. You can move it, so that's the object origin, right? So metaball, yeah, duplicate metaball elements. Them, I think I have several metaballs duplicated, right? The metaball menu is only there when I'm in edit mode, but the two elements are just on top of each other. Add metaball ball. Okay, I'm still inside the same object. Let's start with this. Okay. Let's... I mean, I quite like the way this looks. I just want to fix it, so to speak, to be the way it should be. Let's try this again. Tab. Okay. Don't know what these two handles are. And I'd love to at least set origin to geometry. Okay, that worked. So I can do that for each of these. Object, set origin to geometry. It's the way that Okay, so I can create multiple metaball elements. If I select duplicate metaball elements, just gives me one thing. I can't select a different one. Mirror X global. Snap. Production mode. Random.
Some of these guys will never make a dime. But in the process, they've been the true renegades.
Active element. Item. Ellipsoid. Okay. Okay, this way I can split it out. Even though I can't join, I can gradually convert these. So this one I delete, and now I've got something that's about right. Okay, so next I'm going to replace that one. Okay, well, this is going to be boring, I think, now that I figured it out. So to give you an idea of where I'm going next, I want to have this smoothly flatten out onto the floor space. I'll figure out lighting later. And then what I want to do is add to each of these levels, right? Add sofas or control desks or various things, and then create a path from the door that cuts into the blob all the way to the sort of floor level. But it looks like I've got some work left to do to achieve that. So what I'll do is I'll send you all to Nef's stream, because I was expecting it to be in an hour. I might got my own time zones mixed up, and I want to see what Nef's up to. So let's head over to here we go. Oh, I'm glad you found it interesting. And thanks for watching, of course. Let's see, there we go. Yep. Alright, with that said, it's time for me to go. If you, like me, have caught the Millennium Bug, make sure to watch the next stream or find me elsewhere on the World Wide Web by clicking on the links below the video. I've been Millennium Cyborg, keep that future vibe, and I'll see you in the world of tomorrow.